We open up another file. From the menu bar, click File, Open, then choose 7_p file. At first, we'll do the project on the top, the carriage. Now, select a new tool from the toolbox. Click the flyout arrow at the bottom right hand corner of the fifth tool from the top of the toolbox and choose Bezier Curves. Using this tool, we have several options. We can either click in different spots or click and hold the left mouse button and then drag, but not too far, and then release. Then the straight lines appear. Let's move to the next spot. Click hold and drag and drop several times. This way you can create arcs like these. However, at this stage, choose the pick tool and delete these curves. Let's go back to Bezier Curves. For now, we will focus on creating the figure by using straight lines. The best way to create a figure is by using straight lines and change them to curves, then convert it to the shape we want. By clicking under the carriage image in separate spots, we'll try to form the same shape as the carriage body. Our figure doesn't have to be exactly the same as the one in the picture. Just try your best to make it look similar. When you hover the pointer over the first node, you can see a small curved arrow. If you click on this, it will close the curves of the created shape. In the Property toolbar, you can see that the Close Curve icon is active, which means the created figure is still open. In most cases in Corel, you must work on a closed figure. So we close our figure by clicking on the first node. Afterwards, you can select the Shape Editing tool from the toolbox. By dragging and dropping selected nodes, you can simply form the desired shape you want. You can also align selected nodes by using Align Nodes button located in the standard toolbox. By hovering the pointer over the line to the point where you can see a wavy image, you can add or delete new nodes by clicking the left mouse button. Let's move our already created figure out of the way. Now you get to know much more information about the Bezier Curves tool. We'll focus only on shaping the image by simply clicking on different points inside the worksheet. At this point, we won't create arcs by the drag and drop method shown before. Now, by just clicking, I'll create a simple figure. As you already know, you need to close the figure by clicking the first node. However, there is another way to do that from the menu bar. Click Edit and press Undo Edit. Now, select the Pick tool from the toolbox. Now we have an open figure. We can't add any colour to it. We can add colour to a closed figure created before. We have several options to close the first and the last nodes. If the figure has only one pace to be closed, you can simply click Close Curve icon in the standard toolbar. The icon itself means either join two end nodes or close curves. When I click on these icons, the figure gets closed and is filled with the colour I have previously chosen. Click on the X icon to make it colourless. So, again, after you click the Close Curve icon, the figure gets closed by a straight line between the first and the last node. Select Edit and Undo. The second option you need to choose is Shape tool from the toolbox and mark these two nodes. Then you have two options. First, join two nodes icon from the property bar, or extend curve to close icon. Click Edit, Undo or Ctrl-Z. Clicking Join Two Nodes icon makes the two nodes become one and the figure gets closed. These are the two options we have when it comes to closing the figures. So we can assume that if there are only two nodes to be closed, you only have to click the Close Curve icon. If there are more nodes to be closed, for example, when I duplicate this figure and select Mirror Vertical Reflection icon, so that we have two curves, which at this moment are separate, in order to combine these separate curves, simply mark them by a left mouse button and drag and drop. Then click Arrange, Combine in the menu bar. Now you have one curve which is open in two places. Clicking Close Curve icon may cause a situation where the program will not know which nodes to connect. We have four nodes to be closed. Clicking Close Curve icon will make it look like this. Press Ctrl-Z to undo the previous action. In this case, you select Shape Tool from the toolbox, and you can close the Mark II nodes by clicking Extend Curve to Close icon. The icon will connect marked nodes with a straight line. If I use Join Two Nodes icon, the two nodes will become one, closing the figure. So these are the options we have. Now, we can use a different method. Click densely multiple times to form a shape resembling the carriage body. The figure may not be as perfect as we wish. Through making so many nodes, I can teach you a lot of information on the basic workings with nodes. Now, there are so many nodes that it's hard to reduce them and to shape the actual figure. Now select the Shape tool and mark all of the nodes. In the toolbar you can see Reduce Nodes icon. When you press the slider icon to the right, you can move it and see how the curve shape changes. After you reduce the number of nodes to a smaller amount, you can mark all the nodes again. After the nodes are marked, press Convert to Line icon in the toolbar. I'll tell you how to handle this tool later on. So our first figure is done using Bezier curves and clicking. The next lot of information we have is how we can close the figure by clicking Close Curve icon in the toolbar, and how the icon works great when we have one place to close. That means two nodes. We can do this as well through the icon Join Two Nodes. This makes two nodes close. However, they get reduced into one. We can also close two selected nodes with a straight line by clicking Extend Curve to Close icon. Now we'll focus on the wheels of the carriage. Choose the Ellipse Shape tool from the toolbox and draw a circle. So now let's talk about what options we have in order to make a rim like this. I'll add colour so that you can see it. We want to obtain a figure that I like to call a rim. The first option is that I can duplicate it by pressing the big plus button on the numeric keyboard, or choose Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in the menu bar. Also Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V. Now, I have two circles exactly the same. Now I'll resize one of them while holding Shift button in order to maintain proportions. Holding Shift while scaling the figures keeps it in the centre and holds its position. Now that I have two circles, I need to select them in order to combine them. Then I can choose either Combine or Trim from the toolbar. If I use the Trim tool, the orange circle will cut the yellow one. The Trim tool has made it so that I am able to move the orange circle alone and move it out of the yellow circle area. So I've got a rim like this. Instead of Trim, I'll choose Arrange, Combine from the menu bar. The Combine option connects two objects into one and trims the shared area. This way, I'm left with a rim like this. Now, I'll show you another way to do it. Let's move our circle and draw another one. We'll use the Outline tool. I can choose either Outline Pen tool, which we have already done before, or change the outline thickness in the Properties toolbox. Now, I can set 2 mm or 4 if it's not enough. Now, I have 4 mm outline, as you can see. When I resize the figure, the outline remains the same. If we want to scale it along with the figure, we need to turn the scale icon on. To do it, you need to open the file Outline tool flyout and choose Outline Pen. In the Properties, you have all the information about the outline. Ticking Scale with Object option and accepting through OK saves the changes and makes it that the line is scaled along with the object. For now, I'll turn this option off. Remember that when you want the outline to be scaled along with the object, you need to turn the option on. Now I'll set the outline to 4 mm. To see this transformation better, we'll change the view to wireframe view. The wireframe view does not show the outline. Now change back to normal view. Once again, change to wireframe view. You can create a new element by choosing Arrange, Convert Outline to Object. This outline will be transformed into a circle, which you can see perfectly in the wireframe view. Now change back to normal mode. When we're in normal view, you don't notice the change, but when you add colour, you can see it has changed. Using Ctrl-Z or Edit Undo, I move back to the beginning, where I have a circle with a 4 mm outline. I also add colour to the inside. Let's see what the difference will be. Change the view to wireframe, then press Arrange and Convert Outline to Object. The same thing as before will happen, but another circle will remain. After turning back to normal view, you have to delete it. So these are the options we have to create this rim. Now, I'll give you some more information about the objects shown and their order. Here we have an example. Move to Arrange, Order, and the flyout is divided into 3 sections. First part has options to move the front to the back of the page. The second one can move objects to the front and to the back of a layer, and the third one can move 1 step forward and 1 step back. This is in the layers list. If we have only 1 layer in the worksheet, we will not notice any action in moving objects back to front of the page or of the layer. Every object has its own surface, so at the moment I draw any kind of object, it's always placed on top of the other figures drawn earlier. After some time, we won't remember in what order the objects were drawn. As mentioned, all the figures have their own surfaces. To check their input order, select Tools and go to Object Manager. Here we have the Object Manager docker, listing pages, layers, and objects inside them. As you can see, when you mark the object in the worksheet, it gets indicated in the Layers object list inside the Object Manager's docker. I show you this at this stage only to indicate that every drawn object has its own separate surface. This is their order. So every time I draw a new figure, it will appear on the top of the list. It does not matter which object is selected. When you, for example, draw a new circle, it will always appear on the top. Because we have only 1 layer, there will be no difference when moving the object to the front or the back of the page. There will be a difference only when we have more than 1 layer. Now, the orange circle is on top of the other 2, and we choose Arrange, Order, to back of layer. As you can see, the figure went to the bottom. However, if we choose Arrange, Order, to front of page, there'll be no difference. Again, this is because we only have 1 layer. Now that we have the figures in this order, I will add this triangle to the other 3 figures. Now we don't have the information as to whether the green triangle is at the top of the orange circle or underneath it. Bear in mind that the 2 commands Arrange, Order, Forward 1 and Back 1 doesn't mean it will move the object on top or underneath the object it overlaps. It will only move the object as it's located on the layer list in the right hand corner of the screen. The green triangle, if moved forward 1, will move only over the pink circle. This is shown in the layer list of the objects in the right hand corner. As you can see, it went over the pink circle, not the orange circle, like it showed on the layers. You can change the order manually when you see the spherical line separating the objects during the dragging and dropping activity using the mouse. We'll not go through it thoroughly for now. I just wanted to indicate the issue. For now, we'll be using forward 1 and back 1 commands for moving objects in the layer. We'll be working only on one layer at this stage. Don't click on any other place in the Object Manager's Docker. The layer named Layer 1 must be highlighted in red, which means that we're working on it. We'll talk about this element later. Please close the Object Docker. That's why we'll be using the simplest way for now, which is Shift Page Up or Shift Page Down on the marked object. These two shortcuts will be fine for moving the object on top or underneath others within a single layer.